Hi, I'm Dave Scott for 220 Triathlon, and I got a question from a gentleman who's really worried about his first ocean water swim, worried about the waves, the chop. How can he swim efficiently without that anxiety going into the race, and obviously when the gun goes off, being able to be comfortable in an open sea. So I want you to take a look at a few clips here that we've taken here at the Four Seasons Walleye at the Dave Scott Institute, and I'm going to give you a few tips. In this short module, I want to talk a little bit about your first time in open water, and maybe you haven't been in open water and now it's a new season. The open water looks intimidating. It might be the bay like we're in here, Coquille Bay at the Four Seasons. It might be a river or a lake. And I think the first thing is that you have to recognize that water is water. It's a very simplistic statement, but you're swimming in the pool and we just apply the same skill set in open water. But there are a few things that you can do to calm yourself down the first time you venture into it, and also at the start of your race. So let's just talk about training application right now. You're taking a look at the water, you're getting in. The first few strokes as you get in, you want to be very slow and methodical on your inhales and actually exaggerate that inhale time where you actually look up at the sky. That can be quite calming because you're getting kind of jostled around in the water. So contrary to the technique that you've been practicing in the pool, and this is a good thing to practice, is just take a slow inhale and recognize the inhale comes through your nose and your mouth, so you feel like that diaphragm is moving and you're not taking short inspirations. The tendency in open water is to have a little bit of a panicky kind of feeling and take short, shallow breaths, and that's obviously not going to help you. So take a few, look up at the sky, head goes down, feel the bubbles coming out. Very, very simple. You may try a few breaststrokes where your head is up and you can just pan across the horizon. If you have a buoy that you're looking at, take a look at that as well as you're doing some breaststroke. That's calming and comforting as well. Lastly, you can do a little bit of backstroke as you're coming in. Now you're thinking in open water, why do I want to do backstroke? Again, looking up at the sky, allowing your shoulders and your chest to open up, doing backstroke, and assuming that you've been doing it on my program and you're comfortable with backstroke, put that to application when you're in open water. So lastly, I see a lot of beginners that are starting off in open water, and even people that have a little aversion to getting open water, and they're always swimming slow. So I like to apply a little bit of speed in that open water sessions. Practice your stroke tempo as you would in the pool. So for example, rather than thinking of 25 meters, you can think of seconds, anywhere between 20 seconds to 35 seconds, where you're doing a set of 4 to 8 repeats for that duration. Give yourself an equal amount of time. 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off. Bring up your tempo a little bit so you get used to the breathing pattern, and you may have a few waves that kind of throw yourself off a little bit. So it shouldn't all be slow and easy. You're not going to do that in the race. So in your training, apply the same principles that you do so you're ready for that race. Let's talk about the last 50 meters of your swim in open water. You're seeing the finish line shoot. You're coming in. We just saw Drew do several things that I mentioned in training that have almost the same application to the finish of the race, and I'll tell you why. Easy freestyle, big breaths, calming yourself before you get into T1, slow, methodical inhales. The second thing, you may find that doing a couple breaststrokes, and you're doing it not only to calm yourself, but if you think of your ankle on breaststroke, your ankle is dorsiflex, that stretches your calf. So in open water, if you're wearing a wetsuit, you're pretty static with your legs. Your foot is plantar flexed or toe pointed position, so that calf and that hamstring can get pretty tight. So doing some breaststrokes at the end as you're almost ready to exit allows that passive stretching initially, but then it's a dynamic movement with the breaststroke action where you're actually going to get that dorsiflex action and stretching of the calf and the lower muscles of your leg, and plus your foot. I'm a big advocate of doing the breaststroke, and I did this in 1982 in Hawaii. Came out the chute, came up too abruptly, and got this massive cramp in my hamstring, and it followed me throughout the entire race. So you can lose a few seconds at the end just by calming yourself down, throwing in some easier freestyle strokes, doing some breaststroke, and then possibly flipping over on your back as we saw Drew doing backstroke, where he can stretch out his pecs and his shoulders. Again, you want to be able to come out of the water, relax for a second, and then you're right into T1. So I hope that helps. Application first time coming back into open water, and the finish of the race can do the same thing.